Welcome to English Sunshine. Today's story is about family, about love that feels unequal, and about a daughter who spent years asking one question: why was I never enough? This story will help you practice natural English expressions, emotional vocabulary, and real-life sentence patterns. Listen carefully, and let the story carry you. The photograph has been sitting on my mother's dresser for as long as I can remember. It is a picture of my sister, Lily. She is maybe 7 years old in the photo. She is wearing a yellow dress, and she is laughing at something outside the frame. Her eyes are bright. Her hair is loose and wild. I am not in the photograph. My name is Nora. I am 31 years old. I grew up in a small house in Ohio, the kind of house where the walls were thin and you could hear everything. Arguments, laughter, silence, especially silence. Lily is 3 years younger than me. She has always been softer than me, more delicate. My mother used to say Lily felt things more deeply than other people. She said it like it was something precious, like it needed protecting. I felt things too. I just never learned how to make it visible. When I was 9, I fell off my bicycle and cut my knee badly. I walked home alone, blood running down my leg, trying not to cry. My mother cleaned the wound quickly, put a bandage on it, and said, "You're fine, Nora. You're strong." 2 weeks later, Lily got a small cold. My mother sat beside her bed for 3 days. She made soup. She read stories aloud. She stroked Lily's hair until she fell asleep. I remember standing in the doorway of Lily's room, watching. I did not feel angry at Lily. I want to say that clearly. Lily was not the problem. She was just a sick little girl who needed her mother. But I stood there thinking, I needed her too. I just didn't know how to be sick enough. Years passed. I became the responsible one, the one who got good grades without being asked, the one who did chores without being reminded, the one who never caused trouble, never cried too loudly, never needed too much. I thought, if I was useful enough, maybe she would look at me the way she looked at Lily. She never did. Or maybe she did, and I was too hungry for it to notice. When I was 17, I got accepted into a university 2 states away. It was a good school. I had worked hard for it. I told my mother at dinner, expecting, I don't know, something, a smile, a hug. She said, "That's good, Nora." Then she turned to Lily and asked if she had finished her homework. I stared at my food for a long time after that. I left for university that autumn. I told myself it was fine. I told myself I was free. And in some ways, I was. Being away from home felt like taking off a coat that had always been too heavy. But every time I called home, my mother spent most of the conversation talking about Lily. Lily's new job. Lily's new apartment. Lily's new boyfriend. I listened. I asked questions. I said the right things. Then I hung up the phone and sat quietly in my small university room, wondering why I always felt like a guest in my own family. 10 years passed like that. Phone calls about Lily. Visits home that felt polite but distant. Holiday dinners where my mother saved the chair next to her for Lily, and I sat across the table, close enough to see everything. I built a life, a real one. I became a landscape architect. I designed parks and gardens, spaces where people could breathe. I had friends I loved. I had a small apartment with a window that caught the morning sun perfectly. I was not unhappy, but there was always a small, quiet ache somewhere inside me. like a room in a house that nobody opens. The phone call came on a Tuesday morning in March. It was Lily. Her voice sounded strange, tight and careful, like she was measuring every word. "Mom is sick, Nora. Her heart. The doctor says it is serious." I sat down on my kitchen floor. I don't know why the floor. It just felt like the right place to receive that kind of news. "How serious?" I asked. "Come home," Lily said. "Please." I drove back to Ohio the next day. The house looked smaller than I remembered, the way childhood places always do. The paint on the front door had faded to a pale blue. The garden was overgrown. My mother's car was in the driveway, which meant she was home from the hospital. Lily opened the door before I could knock. She looked tired. Her eyes were red at the edges. She hugged me tightly, and I hugged her back, and for a moment neither of us said anything. "She's resting," Lily said. "She asked for you." Something moved in my chest when she said that. Something old and complicated. My mother was sitting up in bed when I entered the room. She looked smaller too. Her hair was mostly white now, and her hands, resting on the blanket, looked thin and papery. But her eyes were the same, sharp and brown and watchful. "Nora," she said. "Hi, Mom." I sat in the chair beside her bed, the same chair Lily used to sit in when she was sick. I noticed the yellow photograph on the dresser from across the room. We talked, carefully, the way we always did, about the drive, about the weather, about her medication schedule. Then she said, quietly, without looking at me, "I know I wasn't always fair to you." I did not know what to do with that sentence. I had imagined this conversation many times over many years. In my imagination, I always had the right words ready. Something clear and honest, and maybe a little painful. But sitting there in that room, with the afternoon light coming through the curtains and my mother's hands folded on the blanket, I just felt very tired. "Mom!" "Let me say it," she said. "I need to say it." She spoke slowly, like someone choosing every stone before stepping on it. She said that when I was born, I came out strong, crying loudly, kicking hard. The nurses laughed and called me a fighter, and she had looked at me and thought, "This one will be fine." When Lily came 3 years later, Lily was quiet. Too quiet, the doctors said. She had trouble breathing in those first days. My mother sat beside that hospital incubator for 11 days, not leaving, barely sleeping. And something shifted in her during those 11 days. Something permanent. "I was so afraid of losing her," my mother said. "And I never stopped being afraid. Not really." I listened. My hands were very still in my lap. "But that was not your fault, Nora. It was never your fault. You deserved the same. You always deserved the same." I had spent 30 years carrying a question I could never quite say out loud. Not to my friends. Not to the therapist I saw briefly in my late 20s. Not even fully to myself. The question was not, why did she love Lily more? The question was I someone worth loving at all? And sitting in that chair, hearing my mother's voice crack on the word fault, I understood something I had not understood before. She had not chosen Lily over me because I was less lovable. She had chosen Lily because she was terrified. 'Cause fear, when it gets on our parent, does not always spread evenly. Sometimes it pools in one place and leaves another place dry. It was not right. I want to say that clearly. It was not right, and it had hurt me, and some of that hurt was going to stay. But it was not because I was nothing. I reached over and put my hand over hers. Her hand was cold. I could feel the bones beneath the skin. "I know you were scared," I said. "I didn't know that before, but I know it now." She turned her hand over and held mine. Tightly, like she was afraid I might leave. I did not leave. I stayed for 2 weeks. It was strange being in that house as an adult. I slept in my old room, which my mother had turned into a sewing room years ago. There was a small fold-out bed in the corner. The window still had the same view. The old oak tree in the backyard, the neighbor's fence. I woke up early every morning and made coffee. My mother liked it strong with a little sugar. I learned that on the 3rd day. 31 years old, and I was still learning small things about her. Lily came every afternoon. The 3 of us ate dinner together most evenings. Lily and I had not spent this much time together since we were children. She was quieter than I expected, thoughtful. One evening, after our mother had gone to bed, Lily and I sat on the back porch. It was cold, but neither of us moved to go inside. "Did she talk to you?" Lily asked. "About everything?" "Yes," I said. Lily was quiet for a moment. Then, "I always knew something was different between how she treated us. I didn't know what to do with it." "You were a kid," I said. "It wasn't yours to fix." "I'm sorry, Nora." I looked at the oak tree in the dark. Its branches were bare in March, just thin lines against a gray sky. "Don't be," I said. "Really, I mean it." And I did mean it. For the first time, I actually meant it. I left on a Sunday morning. My mother stood at the front door in her robe, looking small against the doorframe. I hugged her for a long time, longer than I had hugged her in years. "Drive safe," she said. "I will. Call me when you get home." "I will, Mom." I walked to my car. I put my bag in the back. I sat in the driver's seat for a moment before starting the engine. The house in the mirror looked exactly the same as it always had. Small, pale blue door, overgrown garden. But something felt different, not fixed, not healed, just slightly lighter, like a window had been opened somewhere in a room that had been closed for a very long time. I called her when I got home. She picked up on the second ring. We talked for 40 minutes. She asked about my work. She asked about the garden I was designing for a school in Portland. She asked if I was eating enough. Small things. Ordinary things. But she was asking about me. Just me. And I stayed on the phone, answering every question, not wanting to hang up too soon. Some wounds do not close completely. I know that. There are still moments, a holiday photograph, a phone call where old habits return, when that quiet ache comes back, when the girl standing in the doorway of Lily's room shows up again, watching, waiting. But I am learning to sit with her gently, to say, "I see you, you were real, what you felt was real," and then to keep going. Moral lesson: this story teaches us something important about family pain. Sometimes, the people who hurt us did not mean to cause harm. A parent's fear, a parent's worry, a parent's past. These things can shape how they love. And sometimes that love is uneven, without the parent even understanding why. Understanding the reason does not erase the hurt. Nora still carried real pain. That pain was valid, but understanding gave her something new, not full healing, but space. Space to breathe, space to begin again. The hardest thing is not forgiving others. The hardest thing is learning to believe, even after years of feeling invisible, that you were always worth loving. Learn English tip. Today, let's look at how we express quiet, complex emotions in English. These are patterns you can use in real conversations. Pattern 1. Describing a feeling you couldn't explain. There was always a small, quiet ache somewhere inside me. You can say, there was always a feeling I couldn't name. There was always something missing. Pattern 2. Saying something was not someone's fault. It was never your fault. You can say, you didn't cause this. This was not because of you. Pattern 3. Describing slow change. Something shifted in her. Something permanent. You can say, something changed in me after that. Nothing felt the same after that day. Pattern 4. Honest but gentle acceptance. I mean it. Really. Simple. Direct. Native speakers use this to show they are being sincere. Vocabulary, Section 1. Delicate. Easily hurt or broken. Gentle. My mother said Lily was more delicate. Use it. She has a delicate personality. She needs more support. 2. Ache. A dull, quiet pain, physical or emotional. There was always a small, quiet ache inside me. Use it. I feel an ache in my chest when I think about home. 3. Permanent. Lasting forever. Not changing. Something permanent shifted in her. Use it. The experience left a permanent mark on her heart. 4. Incubator. A warm machine that protects very small or sick babies. My mother sat beside the hospital incubator for 11 days. 5. Valid. Real. Acceptable. True. That pain was valid. Use it. Your feelings are valid. Don't ignore them. 6. Crack. Voice cracks. When your voice breaks because of strong emotion. Her voice cracked on the word fault. Use it. His voice cracked when he said goodbye. 7. Pool. To gather or collect in one place. Fear does not always spread evenly. Sometimes it pools in one place. Use it. Water pooled on the floor. Her sadness pooled inside her. Shadowing practice. Listen and repeat these sentences clearly and slowly. You always deserved the same. I know you were scared. I didn't know that before. There was always a small, quiet ache somewhere inside me. Some wounds do not close completely. Your feelings are valid. Don't ignore them. Thank you for listening to today's story. Nora's journey was not easy, but she found something real at the end. Not a perfect answer, but a beginning. Before you go, I have 3 questions for you. Leave your answers in the comments. I would love to read them. Question 1. Have you ever felt invisible in your own family? Question 2. Do you think Nora's mother deserved to be forgiven? Question 3. Which vocabulary word from today was new for you? Thank you for learning with English Sunshine. See you next time.